Welcome to the Sell More Merch Podcast. I am your host, JP Hunt. All right, in today's episode, we're going to dig into how to increase your average order value. Now, specifically, I'm going to share 5 very simple tips and techniques for increasing your AOV. Now, let's set the stage here. What the heck is average order value, which we'll refer to in the balance of this episode as AOV? Well, that is really your average dollar amount per transaction. And the way you'll calculate that is take any period of time, whether it be a year, which is typically the best metric. You could do it over a quarter, over a month. Take your total sales revenue, divide that by the number of transactions, and you'll be left with your AOV. Now, of course, step number 1 is to determine what your AOV is. And of course, the next step will be to assign a goal in terms of increase. Now, the reason I love talking about AOV is it's sort of a bite-sized approach to increasing sales revenue over a large period of time. So if you started with a goal, I want to increase sales by 5 to 10% this year, that's a pretty monumental goal. However, if we can focus on boosting the average order value for each transaction, that breaks it down into bite-sized, achievable, sort of chunks. So it's a more simple way to approach growing sales revenue. All right, now that we have sort of the background and baseline established, let's talk about the 5 ways to boost your AOV. Now, the first tip is by designing and developing product packages and bundles. So rather than be in the business of transacting with individual SKUs, if you're dealing with a group or an organization or a client, maybe consider what are the products that would be complementary and maybe designing a bundle of products and presenting that to a customer. So really, product packaging and bundles is really sort of a marketing mix and a marketing presentation consideration. Think of how you can blend this into your consultation, your question-based sales process. When you're working with a brand new customer and you're establishing all the key information, really dig in to determine what products that are logical, that would be complementary, would make sense to satisfy that customer's needs, maybe their marketing goals, their desires, and presenting that to that customer. So tip number 1, super simple, just build into your standard product offering, your standard marketing offering, designing product bundles and packaging, and present that to your clients. And really that's going to transform you from maybe just offering a screen printed t-shirt to offering a kit of goods that's actually going to end up giving your client more value. And the best way to do that is just, again, engineer this into your question-based sales process. Ask your clients, have you considered other products that will help you, leverage your marketing message, get your mission out there, promote awareness? We have some ideas we'd like to showcase. All right, so the next step is product recommendations. Now, this is also something that should be part of your standard sales approach, your standard marketing mix. So, of course, you probably have an array of products in your current offering that you love to print on. They print well, they're generally in inventory from your suppliers, they have high quality, you're satisfied with the results. So think about making strong and compelling recommendations when you're working with your customers. Now, maybe some of those products have a higher perceived value, they also have a higher profit margin. So again, by designing strong recommendations and presenting those to a customer, it's a really simple way to boost your AOV. All right, so the next tip is somewhat related to product recommendations, but sort of has a different perspective, and that is featured products. Now, you oftentimes see this in particular with e-commerce sales. So if you go to Amazon, popular filters are going to be, most popular. Potentially other e-commerce vendors have trending items, top selling items. So this kind of taps into the herd theory, which teaches us that there's safety in numbers, and oftentimes consumers want to know what other people are buying and what is popular, and must be top selling for a reason, so there's safety. So with that said, think of designing your products and kind of bucketizing them and maybe showcasing, hey, trending popular items right now. These are in fashion, these are in vogue. Again, some of those products are going to have higher perceived value, higher profit margins, higher retail prices. So it's important to showcase those products and get them in front of your customers. All right, the 4th tip is curating products. This is something that we've talked an awful lot about. Most successful e-tailers and retailers are really good at curating products, meaning designing products around good, better, and best. And this really considers, this approach of bracketing considers all consumers, budget conscious consumers, the premium conscious consumers. So bracketing is a technique where, again, you're offering three options: good, better, best. And really, most consumers will pick the middle. They'll think that that's a compromise between quality and value. But of course, you're offering options for any budget, any consumer. You don't have to guess. So think about how you can break your products down into those three buckets: good, better, best, based on price, based on quality, based on attributes. You'll oftentimes find that some of your consumers will just self-upgrade. They will conscientiously make the decision that they want the best. They'll be attracted to that product catalog. Now also consider the 80-20 rule. This is true for every supplier. This is true for every print entrepreneur and decorator I've ever spoken to. But oftentimes, if we were to look at your books, look at your revenue production, 80% of your revenue production will come from 20% of the products that you offer. So think about how to really put a spotlight and curate those 20% of SKUs, considering that represents a majority of your revenue production. Alrighty, so let's talk about the fifth and final way to boost your AOV, and that is by designing and creating really simple, logical add-ons. So think of ways to allow your consumers to really enhance their purchase by maybe upgrading the decoration method to water-based ink, or adding on custom tags or labels, or polybagging. So your add-ons should be a simple decision, and they should be logical and complementary to the product that they're already buying. It's the mindset should be, how can I create a menu of options that enhance what somebody's already investing in? Now, grocery stores have really pioneered add-ons, and in fact, I oftentimes use this example, but if you look at the average grocery store checkout experience, there's about 100 $1 to $3 items that are available at checkout. And the logic is, if maybe 1 out of 5 consumers will add $1 to their transaction over the course of a month, over the course of a year, that volume equates to a tremendous amount of revenue production for a grocery store. So again, think of how can you add simple, no-brainer, easy to add items that will complement and enhance my purchase. And really the byproduct of this is, not only are you boosting your AOV, but potentially you're also giving more satisfaction to your consumers, because they're taking a product that they've already committed to, they already need and want, and they're going to get even more value because you're going to hyper-personalize it with additional touches or embellishments. It's just a simple way, sort of 2 birds in 1 stone. All right, so let's do a quick flyby summary of the 5 ways to boost average order value: product packaging and bundles, making strong product recommendations, featuring and showcasing products, and of course designing those around trending, top selling, most popular, curating products to set forth, again, the 80-20 rule. The 20% of products that you're offering represent the vast majority of revenue that you're producing. So how can you put those into buckets, good, better, best, and highlight and showcase those in your product discovery process and in your sales process? And the fifth and final is by simply designing logical enhancements that are going to complement and add extra value to the products clients are already buying. All right, so this has been our episode on AOV. I'd love to hear maybe other techniques and tips that you might have from your personal experience in terms of boosting your AOV. So make sure to share those with me. The easiest way to reach me is to zap me an email, jp@inksoft.com. I'd also love to get your feedback in terms of what topics you'd love to hear on the Sell More Merch podcast, so make those be known. All right, folks, well, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to our next episode together.